Welcome, everyone. I'm Taz Ferreira, and this is a Million Mom Movement on Fierce Friday. And today we are talking about superfoods and recoveries for athletes, moms, kids, everyone, and tips and tricks that we use to optimize our health mentally, physically, and spiritually. So I'm welcome with my beautiful council members, Naiva Flory in Hawaii, Carmela Velarde in Pennsylvania, Michelle Ricci in Colorado. And we are here at the council, at the Million Mom Movement, joined with all of you to move this movement forward and to show you all collectively how we can make a difference in our family, in our health, in our friends, caregivers, every single person that surrounds us. So I've been partnered with Purium Superfood for the past 6 years. And in the past 3 years, this is really when I started to move my mission forward. And that all started when my son was poisoned by glyphosate. And I had no clue. I had no idea that glyphosate was even a thing. I did not know the importance of organic food. And this is something that I've noticed with so many people. They don't understand the importance of organic foods until it starts affecting you and your family personally. And I personally had to go through that for me to know that there was something outside, something different, and to know that there was something that needed to be done. So it was until Biomedic was launched that it was introduced to myself and my family, that I used it with my son, and within a short amount of time, and I mean from Friday to Monday, all of his issues went away. That's from his IBS to eczema, and that changed our entire family. And then I thought to myself, well, this is the solution. How come people don't know about this? And I need to start sharing this forward. And from there, the council was born, and we start sharing all kinds of information that's happening weekly, monthly, daily. So let's get into the news, which is one of my favorite topics. This is a piece where whenever something happens in the news and we read about it and we're like, the council, our family needs to know about this, and we need to dissect it and bring it to all of you and show you guys how to read it, to bring it to your attention and what to look for. So right now we have an incredible article with something really alarming that's happening in the world. I'm going to pass it to our beautiful council member, Carmela, to talk a little bit about it.
Thanks so much, Taz. Hi, everyone. Happy Fierce Friday. So this in the news piece, we are taking on the topic of the new appeal coding, which is pretty high in the news for most people who are concerned about additives, colors, dyes, artificial food coloring, all the artificial things. In our community, we take a stand and we're activists against glyphosate. So I put into the chat the article that we had been referencing the past 2 Zooms, and it's by Dr. Tenpenny. But we actually have a new article that was released just last month. Actually happened to be on my son's 10th birthday. And it's actually from Moms Across America. So we love to point you in the direction of people who are writing articles with a lot of activism education, really to look at the toxicities in our environment and in our food and how it affects our communities as a family person. We always, we had interviewed actually another really beloved guest, Carrie Gillum, and she's the editor of The Guardian. So that's another really great place to reference is The Guardian. So let's take a look at this article. This is written by Jennifer Wolfe Gillespie, and it was edited by Nikki Steinberger. So we've been looking deeper into this protective coating and exactly what is the product actually protecting? Is it helping our health? So this particular article, it goes into some information that I didn't know, so I wanted to bring it to light. To date, Appeal has received about $719 million in funding from multiple sources, including Anne from 23andMe, Katy Perry, Oprah Winfrey, Bill and Melinda Gates, the Rockefeller Foundation, as well as the number of other investment firms and venture capitalists. So it's very highly funded. Among their board members was the former CEO of Whole Foods. And Vijay Pandey, an adjunct professor in bioengineering in Stanford. So it looks good, right? It looks and it appears good. Now look at the partnerships it's already secured. So Nature's Pride, which is a large importer of Europe's avocados, Sage Fruit, Del Monte, which is also a really huge company, Eco Farms. Many of them are for avocados and asparagus. Del Rey, Horton Fruit Company, RV. Now, what this appeal claims to be able to do is to be able to extend the shelf life so that it can last longer. It has been already available and approved to be in these different grocers. So Costco, Trader Joe's, Gelson's, Ralph's, Sprouts, Vans, Walmart, Whole Foods, Kroger, Harps, Wakefern, Price Right, Fairway Market, Target, Bristol Farms, and more to date. So how safe is it? We looked deeper into what is it made of? And it's a mixture of monosylglycerides, and it's really derived from grape seeds. However, we found that there is a mixture of diglycerides, and this grapeseed is actually considered and derived from, it's exempt from the requirement of pre-market approval. So this to me alarms me. If it's exempt, why is that the case? I love to see studies, how long-term studies, especially when it's pretty much in every grocer that I mentioned. It's probably across the entire nation. I've been to most of them. And what is it made of? So it's actually processed to generate the saturated forms of the grape seed. And this article is really great because it goes into how, what is the grapeseed oil composed of, and how it can actually, in larger quantities, be a higher than ideal ratio of certain acids that increase inflammation, hormonal imbalances, thyroid disorders, high cholesterol, and obesity. So this is a great article. It actually gives you the approximate amount per day that's considered safe for consumption. And somewhere here it says 10% is what was aimed. That was the goal for them to have under 10% consumption for people. But still, one really high alarm bell that went off for me was that it's composed of fruits and vegetables that are GMO free, but they're not genetically engineered. However, they're not certified organic. So in our community, we know and we point out that the detriment of glyphosate is the cause of all the rising instances of disease. So they don't take that into account. So including being processed grapeseed oil, you're also processing the fact that the fruits and vegetables are coming from also non-organic sources. Oh, and this is very alarming. You can go into this. There's a lot of information about more of the toxins that are in it. So let's go down from including heavy metals. So how do you feel about consuming a product that's exempt from pre-market approval? Question that. We're here to question. We're here to provide empowerment topics so that you can ask, is it safe for your family? Is consuming unneeded toxic substances, including the heavy metals, palladium, arsenic, lead, cadmium, mercury, ethyl acetate, and hexane from manufacturing processes safe? So above here, it shows that in addition to chemical residues from the catalyst and neutralizing agents, heavy metals were found to be left behind in the process of it being processed. So there's that too. So this, I'm really happy to have found this because many of us are concerned about heavy metal toxicity. If you were to consume vastly higher than average amounts of fruits and vegetables, might that expose you to unsafe and unwanted levels of any appeal ingredients? Right? That's my question too. They're deeming what's safe for consumption. With the expansion of worldwide partnership contracts, is it a good idea to treat your food supply with a new product without knowing the potential long-term health environmental risks? If such is the case, do you want to buy products from a company that is backed by investors you may not also align with? And are you comfortable knowing Appeal plans to develop products for USD certified organic and conventional produce categories? And only in a majority of cases will this product be labeled. Oof. Oh, Lord Almighty. So this is just getting deeper and more alarming to me. And these are great questions to ask yourself, because yes, we're bringing this to light, but how do you feel about it? Do you want to bite into that crisp apple or tasty cucumber knowing you can't completely wash off the coating it was sealed with? Is there a safer, natural way to preserve your food longer? So just use common sense, guys. Well, we're in this community of organic, pure superfoods from regenerative farms that have been tested to not have Appeal and also to have none of these ingredients that are additives, preservatives, emulsifiers, excipients, irradiated ingredients. We know that what we're getting from the insurance of our superfoods is true. Also, another great way to prevent, this Appeal in your home, to come into your home, is to look at your local CSA. So just Google CSA near me. I did it in Pennsylvania and a whole list came up, and you want to know your farmers. You want to ask them if in fact they contracted with Appeal. So you have control, but you have to know what to ask and where to go and what to look for. And so I leave it in your hands. So I pass it back to you, Taz.
So drop me a 1 in the comments if you are upset about what you're listening to. Can you believe what's happening to our food system? So many of us are trying to become more alkaline, right? We're trying to get the acid out of our bodies. And what's alkaline foods? Fruits, right? We're going to fruits and veggies. And what's happening? It's getting all poisoned. What that is happening in our bodies. And when I hear this, I'm like, heavy metals? You know what loves heavy metals? Parasites. And once you've opened up that door, what happens? Mold comes in, all the other pathogen comes in. So this makes an even sicker society. This is what's happening. I'm outraged. And I love the questions in the chat. And stay for our call to action. We are going to be talking about this at the end of the call, what you can do, what we can do, because we need to do this collectively. The more we have the numbers and to be loud together and tell them we will not stand for this, you know what? We are creating the change. We are creating the change that we want to see and that we want to eat and consume. Okay, so I have a great call today and I want to get to our guests right away. So our first guest will be Sarah, who's in Hollywood, California right now. And she is part of a conscious lifestyle movement. And she's an athlete who was part of competitive cross country. And I love her story about physical, spirituality, mental health, all of the facets. And I would love for her to unmute herself and to share with us what she does with herself and her clients to keep her mind, body, and soul intact with our superfoods.
Oh my gosh, Taz, you're amazing. Thank you so much for that intro, and hello, everyone. Yeah, I have a background of always kind of moving around and being an athlete, and I found myself getting into competitive cross country, which was not normally the plan, and was really pushing my body to the point of a lot of injury. And I did cross country in Japan. I grew up there. And at the time, my dad was 6'3", so he was very tall. And at the time in Japan, they also didn't sell my shoe size. So I was being forced running in small size shoes for hours and hours throughout the day. And it definitely stunted my growth in many ways. So now that I've gotten older, my focus is really on body alignment, body consciousness, and the lifestyle choices I make every day and how it makes me feel. And, I think a big part of that is also how I heal and rest. One of the biggest things I've learned over the years is there's a difference between sleeping and getting restfulness. And so having an amazing tool like Purium, for example, coming into my life, and even learning about gut health and applying the apothecary at night and reducing inflammation has been a huge experience in my overall healing journey, and just choosing to do that every day and also sharing it with everyone.
So having to wear a small shoe size, the foot is a connectiveness of all our meridians, right? So I
Mhm.
could see that already causing so much issues.
Yeah, I really stepped into a lot of different modalities in my right after high school. I found myself getting into massage therapy, and my massage therapy school at the time was the only school in the nation that was offering a partnership with University of Utah for the cadaver program with the med students. And so the moment I started to dive deep into how the body looked inside out, and being able to touch the muscles and be able to touch the muscle fibers and your fascial tissues, all of that, it just made sense that when you put clean things in your body, you get cleaner results. And when you put dirty things in your body, you get dirty results. And, to this day, I go to acupuncture, and I'm still working on a lot of the injury on my feet, and how it just works your way up through your entire body system. So, and it's been over, 20 years, and I'm still recovering. So having a lifestyle, having a clean diet, a consciousness within my life is so crucial within my healing journey.
And I love how you spoke about sleep, right? Because this is where your cells repair the most.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
talk to us a little bit about that.
Oh gosh. Like, I notice a huge difference, because now that I'm in LA, and it's also kind of going into how Marcus and I met. I'm in entertainment now as well, and when you're up for so many hours, it really puts a toll on your organs, and you just don't function. There's a form of brain fog that you get, and there's been more times where hourly wise I have had less hours of sleep, but just by adding in like apothecary or getting restfulness, I feel night and day difference in how my body functions, how I'm able to wake up with clarity or no clarity. And it's also the difference in inflammation that I feel in my body. A huge of it. Like, I didn't realize how much inflammation is plagued on diseases that we go through in our lifetime.
Yeah, a lot of people think, they lose weight, but it's really inflammation, right?
Definitely. Yeah. And I know you kind of added this when you were talking about the lead, but like parasites, I didn't realize how much of a havoc parasites have in our system. And so even just getting rid of parasites on a seasonal basis has been huge. But I mean, it's really such a combination of all these things coming together, and just really being conscious of it and making it a lifestyle. The marketing is very strong here in America. The marketing is very different on what it focuses on places like Japan or Europe. And also being in entertainment, like, I'm a part of that marketing on what I'm influencing to people on what to buy or how to be a consumer. Are you a conscious consumer, or are you just a consumer just buying into what you're being told to buy? And so all of that comes into play of how you live your day to day. And with a lot of my coaching, it's really just getting clear and getting conscious on what you're choosing to bring into your home, what you're choosing to bring into your body. And is it creating a place of ease, or is it creating a place of dis-ease? And so you choose all of that. So yeah.
And I love that you were speaking about the parasites, because if you go to any of your allopathic doctors, they would tell you, no, we don't have parasites here. What are you talking about? If you're not going through a third world country, they completely dismiss parasites. So that's why we need to empower ourselves to look for parasites in our own body.
Definitely. Yeah. And even something as simple as having pets. I have 2 cats, and guess what? We all pass it to each other. Like, it's unavoidable. Like glyphosate, it's unavoidable. It's in the air, it's in our water. And And what I've also realized too is not being so hard on myself about trying to be perfect, but simply reducing risk as much as possible. And I think that's more of a realistic standpoint, especially when I'm coaching someone is, hey, it may seem overwhelming because there are so many layers to this, but the truth is just start reducing risk. Just start eliminating by addition. Start eliminating what you can't read on the back of ingredients of products, and just start saying, hey, is this food or is it not food? And you start to realize that it's really quite simple that everyone can do.
So what are the steps that you introduce to your conscious clients around you and how to improve their lifestyle and improve their recovery?
I go straight to the core. I go straight with gut health first and foremost. So for me, being part of the Purium community, I'm like, let's get the biomedic in your system as soon as possible. And let's start nourishing the body. Let's start flooding the body with nourishment and nutrients and have it be actually bioavailable to the body. A lot of people are eating. It does not mean that you're getting nourished. There's a huge difference. And a lot of times people are like, oh, wait, so, it sounds like you're doing a lot more liquid, like a liquid diet than like tangibly eating food all the time. And I'm like, well, it's more bioavailable to the body. And the thing is, why do you eat? My question is always like, well, why do you eat? And typically no one has an answer. And I'm like, well, you essentially are eating to nourish. But just because you're eating what you think is food, it doesn't mean that you're nourishing. So if you're not nourishing, you're still depleted of actual nourishment within the body. And so I go straight to the gut. Let's focus on the gut. Let's focus on the core, the epicenter of your body, and let's start from there. And your body will do what it's designed to do. It wants to heal. It wants to thrive. It wants to live. Our body is entirely designed to carry us through our entire lifetime. So when I see it not doing that, when I see, younger people having these crazy disorders or diseases, it's really sad. And so for me, I just go straight to the core, gut health first.
I love how you talk about the bioavailability, because that's a question at Purium we get all the time, that people say, well, you know what? I eat whole foods, right? I'm not drinking my foods all the time. And you really debunked it perfectly.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's, eating is just not eating. I think there is layers to that. It's, yes, on one end, it's the quality of food you eat is the quality of life you live. Absolutely. And I would also add to that, it's also the quality of absorption that matters as well, because if you're not absorbing, and I would say that most people suffer from leaky gut or something leaking within their system or something that is not within balance to the body, because before I was introduced, I was care-fronted by my good friend, JJ Michaels, to Purium. I didn't realize that I was suffering from leaky gut, and I had been eating organic for 10 years and I was still suffering. And because things were leaking through my system, even though I was eating organic, and I was still ahead of a lot of my friends within that organic time. And so once I was able to heal and repair my core foundation, then I was nourishing, then I was absorbing. And I had a lot of breakout on my face because, our skin is the biggest organ of the body. And so that went away, inflammation went away, mental clarity. I didn't realize how big mental clarity or brain fog was. And so, it's important. I just realized that eating, organic is not enough, and supplementing is also not enough. You really have to combine everything together and have it synchronized and have a life that sustains your life.
I love that you're talking about carefrontation, because as Purium, this is what we do. Whenever someone goes through something that relates to us, we're like, we need to let them know, we need to tell them. So I think it's the perfect timing where we can introduce Marcus, who you carefronted as well, right? So he's part of the entertainment industry and basketball player, huge athlete, and recovery. So Marcus, I would love if Sarah, you would like to introduce him.
Yeah, so Marcus and I met,
2017.
he knows, 2017, for a big campaign shoot up in this beautiful Beverly Hills house. And I asked him for a ride because we realized that we were neighbors. He lives right down the street from me. And I remember the first moment when I got into his car and I look in the back of his seat and there's like all these wrappers from like the energy bars and you know, and so I didn't think really anything of it, but we just kind of became best friends. And then when the pandemic hit, he was one of the first people that came to my mind because he was actually still also, you were also like in the party life, like going out, doing the nightlife thing, complete different lifestyle. And I just remember one of the biggest things when I was talking to him and catching up was he mentioned that he wanted to focus on gut health. I think you were experiencing some gut issues and wanted to become more plant-based intentionally. But the biggest thing for him, because he is such an athlete, was he didn't want to lose muscle mass. And I was like, I got you. So, yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Million Mom Movement. Yeah, Sarah was a huge catalyst in my, I'd say, elevation into holistic health. But I'll bring it back a little bit because we were all affected by the pandemic. And that was a big wake-up call in a lot of ways, just in my consciousness. In that time, I was opening my mind up to new ideas, and the new ideas is really the truth. When I would hear the news and all this fear pumping and knowing internally, intuitively, that these modalities are not what keeps you healthy. And that just opened my mind up to start questioning some of these narratives that were being projected on us. So one documentary led to a podcast, which led to books and audiobooks, and just changing my environment and my situations. So we fast forward to August of 2020. I saw the Netflix documentary Game Changers. And as an athlete growing up playing basketball and lifting, I always went the traditional route. I have to eat a bunch of eggs. I gotta, eat a whole turkey, like to gain muscle and get that protein. But when I saw that documentary, it just switched the curiosity in me that was like, okay, if these guys and girls are Olympic athletes, professional athletes, breaking world records just by consuming plants, I want to try it. So it's funny how we attract who we are and the consciousness that we're evolving into. And I had been posting a lot about these things that were just light bulb moments and throughout my social media. And I think that's what got Sarah's attention, because as she mentioned, we met at a time where I was partying and going out, staying up late. So my sleep, my circadian rhythm wasn't always intact, but I was an athlete at the same time. So just pushing through those times is not a sustainable habit to do. So when she introduced me to Purium and I agreed to do a 30-day ULT, I wanted to attack it or try it by not working out. I just wanted to see what the foods themselves were going to do to my body. So for 30 days, I just let the superfoods do what it did. And on the other side of the 30 days, it literally shook my whole paradigm. I thought at that point I was high energy, elite in my athletic ability, but looking back, that old me was moving in slow motion. And it's pretty amazing when you add in quality to your body, what that quality will give back to you. So ever since that time, incorporating these superfoods for rest, digestion, gut health, as Sarah mentioned, gut health being one of the main drivers in our overall health, being the majority of our immune system is so important. And I think the foundation needs to be put in place first, and then you can add some auxiliary stuff on top. And so when I started working out, I saw amazing improvement in my recovery, inflammation reduction, sleep quality, and just like Sarah mentioned, like a big concern of mine was maintaining muscle mass. And with the tools of, the organic superfoods, I kept getting gains after gains once I started working out. And
Which hack did you introduce once you started working out?
Say that again?
Which hack did you introduce once you started working out?
Okay. Yeah, when I started working out, I did the holistic fitness pack. And I just basically followed the recommended guidance. So my pre-workout would look like 10 aminos, 2 super xanthins, and can't beat this. But as I started playing around with some of the other superfoods, I would add in aloe digest, cocoa hydrate, biofruit, and just the combination reminded me of the Kool-Aid that I grew up with. So, but a more holistic, healthy form. And
doesn't it help that it's great?
Yeah, it's amazing. And like, I would typically work out at around 9 in the morning. So up until that point, I would just take those 10 aminos, the can't beat this super xanthan, then work out. So pretty much still fasted. And people at my gym would look at me, and I'm a pretty lean guy, and I'd be pushing a lot of weight, and they're like, how are you doing that? You're not all big and brolic like, some of these fitness heads that we watch on the screen and whatnot, but it just shows that the quality of the food like really makes your body quality.
I really love what you said. I feel like every athlete needs to hear that you said you were moving in slow motion, but you thought you were moving at a fast pace, but you didn't know how amazing life could look or how amazing your body can react with these superfoods.
Yeah. And just going back to, the idea that people think you're losing muscle, you're losing inflammation. That's one of the biggest things that I saw. And I had posted like a before and after when I first went plant-based, and then about, I think, 4 months into working out with the superfoods and stuff. And you can clearly see like just the reduction of inflammation. And it's funny because, people would say, oh, you look good then, but I'm like, but this is me now. Like, and I'm moving a lot quicker. My mind's faster, my skin glowing a lot more bright, teeth whiter, everything upgrades.
Amazing. So tell me, give me 2 examples of your favorite post-recovery superfoods.
Yeah, so one of my favorites, and I'm going to use this as a combination, the astaxanthin and the super lights, because obviously when we're working out most of the time, we're sweating out and you're losing a lot of those electrolytes. So making sure you have a quality electrolyte coming back in for hydration is everything. Super xanthan was amazing too, with the reduction of lactic acid buildup, and then sustain energy throughout the workout. But I love MVP Sports, both of them, and I would add them to Epigenus for kids. I really like too, and I mix those because it just tastes like a next level like chocolate shake. But I also love adding like organic blueberries and just these other berries to add more bulk to for calories.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. So at the end of the call, we will open it up to the field and you guys can unmute and ask Sarah and all of our guests and Marcus questions. So I would love to get to our next guest, Holly. in Hollywood. She's actually in San Diego. So she owns a fitness gym for women, and she's a mom of twins, an incredible human. So I would love for her to share her story with us.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, so as you mentioned, I am a previous owner of 2 all-women's gyms. I had them for almost 14 years in Los Angeles, and it was amazing. We taught women how to lift weights properly, how to really embrace their strength and just go after their goals. So I did that for a long time. And then I was kind of in a place of wanting really a little bit more freedom. And so that's really whenever I found Purium, and I moved into all online training. This was right before the pandemic. So I think I had a little bit of divine intervention, and I, sold my gym and was able to move into all online training and all working with clients with nutrition through Purium. And yeah, just me finding the products. I was searching for something with supplementation because there was really so many companies that would reach out to me, and everything was just like missing something. It wasn't organic. So whenever I found Purium, it had everything that I wanted, and it wasn't a supplement. This was real food. And I was introduced to these products by Ra and Carolina Teasdale and Troy Casey. And I'm so grateful to them. Whenever I saw them, I'm like, whatever you guys are doing, I'm in. They're, such bright lights and just really the epitome of health. And so I was just ready to go all in with Purium for myself.
I love how you were talking about the supplementation, because this is something that we hear all the time. So many people are like, well, how is it different? It looks the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I would do over the years different things for protein or pre-workout, and, none of it really made me feel great. I could tell that I would have like digestion issues with some of the proteins that I would use. Pre-workout, you get all jittery, so there was always kind of issues, but I was always looking for something for myself and to be able to recommend for my clients. After you do like a high intensity interval workout or a high weight workout, it's important that you have protein. It's important to replenish your glycogen levels to be able to really recover and have the muscle recovery that you need to continue on and to keep building muscle and to see results. And so I was always looking for a product that would be able to do those things, but also be good for us, be healthy. And I would feel comfortable taking it myself and recommending it to people.
So what product did you find that showed the fastest results?
Well, when I first started, I went all in. I started with the ULT, but with that, I added in Can't Beat This for pre-workout, Super Xanthan, as Marcus mentioned, pre-workout. And then I also would do an MVP Sport Shake after my workout. So with those things, I had this like full arsenal of products that could support me in my health and gut health, but also in, maintaining my fitness. I was always pretty leery of doing any kind of like a cleanse or juicing, because a big focus for me was to keep my muscle and to maintain, my fitness level and be able to work out in a high intensity way. So whenever I found Purium, and we've got the amazing amino acids to be able to support that while also cleansing your gut. So I went full in that program, and the results I saw were just like in a few days, I was sleeping better. I was waking up more rested. I used to be pretty addicted to caffeine. And I remember I went like a full day and I was like, wow, I haven't even like thought about caffeine today. Like I haven't even like needed it. I feel so energized. And, I was teaching classes all day. I was working out, hiking, like just active all day long. And I really felt like my best within a few days of starting on the products. So that was in 2018, and I've been taking them every single day since. And now I have 16-month-old twins and they love the Power Shake. So I know that my whole family is getting really great nutrition.
Okay, so we need to talk about that. You're still a new mom of twins, 16-month-olds. Okay, so has this helped you with your energy levels? Let's like give it a Million Mom movement spin to this.
Yeah, for sure. Really a little background. I went through a pretty difficult pregnancy. I was on bed rest for the last few months of my pregnancy in the hospital. I had one of my babies had a heart condition, very high risk, identical twins. So it was tough, but the entire time I was supporting myself with Purium, with vitamin C, with Power Shake, amino acids. So I really felt like it was helping, my pregnancy as much as possible. And I kept that up like all, postpartum and everything as well. I did a 30-day transformation in April of this year. So I was able to really incorporate all the products again. And it just has like given me so much energy in my day-to-day with twins, which is pretty chaotic, but fun. So it's just helping me, be able to be present for my children and not have to worry too much about, my like nutrition. What am I getting? Am I fueling myself properly? And also for my children, we eat all organic. They've never had anything that isn't organic. And to be able to also support them with like the superfoods is amazing, because sometimes they don't want to eat their vegetables, but they will drink a Power Shake.
I love that you were talking about that how your babies are superfood babies.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. Like the second that I get my Power Shake out, they're reaching for it. They want one.
Their kids watch what you do.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Anything that we do, they want to be in on it.
I love that. Is there anything else that you would share that would be your favorite product?
Yeah, I have to say my favorite really is Can't Beat This. I love everything, but the Can't Beat This like pre-workout, I just feel like it gives me a ton of energy. I think it's delicious. So it really helps me to support my days. I also don't drink coffee anymore because I am able to start my day with Can't Beat This. And so I just feel like I'm getting, everything that I need with these superfoods.
I'm hearing a pattern from your story and Sarah's and Marcus. You guys all found Purium through the pandemic, right? Through all of the business shutting down and really going online. And, this is a whole nother part that when you are going through all this financial crisis, right? This spikes your cortisol levels. So this causes acidity in your body. This causes inflammation. So this is another aspect that Purium really relieves the stress from your life.
Totally. I feel like it's like always there for us, not only the superfoods, but also like the community and just being able to be connected to other people who are on the same path. And, yeah, the pandemic was stressful for everybody in so many different ways and just big lifestyle changes for everyone. But I just felt like having these things was my like normalcy throughout the day. Like, this is what I do every day. I drink this shake, so it definitely was kind of there for me in that way, as well as this community of people who are trying to really help other people to like understand the importance of getting rid of glyphosate, of being able to properly fuel ourselves so we can show up better in the world for each other.
Absolutely. And really, really sharing because you care.
Yeah, totally.
I love that. And I have another amazing mama who has a star athlete. So I would love for her to unmute herself and share a little bit of how she's been incorporating the superfoods with her athlete's son and his recovery. Shari.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. I love this call. So much great information. So yes, I have two star athletes who are very heavily into their sports. So they're both hockey players. It's at the core of their love for sports, but on the off season, they also play soccer competitively. They do martial arts. So we're super active. That's probably the understatement of the year, but we are very active. And I found really quickly that in order for their bodies to be able to keep up with their high intensity sports, it was demanding more. Right. And at the time, like many other people that I heard say here today, they thought they were already eating healthy, which we thought we were. But through, some diagnosis and things alike, we came to find out that no, I began to see that I was missing a piece of the puzzle. And that piece was, of course, gut health. And so it's not just important that I'm fueling their bodies accordingly before and after their sports, but it's just as important whether or not they're able to absorb any of it. So that's where the gut health aspect has really come into play for us. And it's made a world of difference. So my older son, Jordan, which that's, I believe, Tess, who you were speaking of, he is a very high leveled hockey player. He had a 62 goal season for anyone who knows hockey. He's only 13 years old. And he was just recruited to NHL Kids. He was chosen over like 209 other players his age, and he's going to be playing a week-long tournament over the summer. It involves a lot of training beforehand to get there. And there's nothing better than our superfoods to do that. You know, a lot of these trainings are late at night. He's getting home late. He has school the next day. And of course, he's getting home starving. But I don't want to start filling his body with a whole bunch of different foods at 9-10 p.m. at night, right? When the body is supposed to be like winding down and getting ready for what is even more important for him, such a good night's sleep, right? I don't want his body to be busy breaking a whole bunch of foods down and, you know, working on digestion at that time when the body should be working on recovery. And so superfoods have made all of the difference there because I can prepare him like an MVP sport. I can put in some superxanthin. You know, he doesn't swallow capsules yet, but capsules open so easily. So I throw the superxanthin in there. I throw in super aminos. For me, my favorite choice of protein for athletes in general, or really just favorite source of protein, is lentils. I find that they're such a great lean protein. They're easily digestible, especially in our super amino form anyways. Maybe not always, but definitely with our super aminos because it's already, you know, pre-digested and they blend up so easily in any shake, right? In like my blender. So I can add all of this in. It's 9:30, 10 p.m. at night, doesn't matter. He's getting all of those nutrients. I love the MVP Sport proteins because they have adaptogen herbs and they have the plant-based proteins. They have cordyceps mushrooms, which there's no way I could get him to have cordyceps mushrooms any other way. And the benefits on muscle recovery are fantastic. And so, you know, he loves it. He doesn't really care what's in there. He knows it's all great stuff. He's even aware that the mushrooms are in there, but he's like, as long as he doesn't taste them, it's all good. And so I'm able to get all of this really important nutrients into his body to replenish his muscles afterwards. And some of the ways that we, you know, fuel him before his sports is the same way. You know, he has a little Can't Beat This. I mix it with cocoa hydrate. And sometimes we add in some Aloe Digest and Apothecary, and that's it's become, his teammates call it the magic potion, Jordan's magic potion drink. And he has that in his water bottles. He drinks it on the way to his sports. He drinks it during his games and trainings. And then he has that's really his go-to throughout the day. So we train, he's on the ice probably 6 out of 7 days a week, sometimes 7. And so he knows hydration is important and he feels the difference when he's hydrating this way.
Beautiful. And I have to say, he has type 1 diabetes and you would never know. This is like a star athlete. You know, it starts young. Once you start introducing nutrition to their bodies, this is what can happen. So amazing. Thank you so much, Sherry, for sharing this. So I'll open it up to the field. So if you have a question for these incredible people, just raise your hand and unmute yourself. And let's get this rolling. Does anyone have any? How about our council member? Do you have any questions?
I'll come on and share and ask some questions. So I was listening to Dave on Wednesday and he was sharing about how the CBD was really beneficial in post-workout recovery. And I'm curious if any of you are using CBD as part of your recovery after workout.
Marcus, I think you were, right?
No, I actually haven't. I haven't incorporated the CBD yet.
So CBD is great to even put topically.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Tess, that's actually what my friend JJ taught me, was like using it topically, even like as a face serum. I was even giving it to my cats, to my little animals. So I think but that would be really, I'm definitely doing that the next time I go work out. Just gonna try it and see what happens.
Amazing.
I can say that I have used it. I deal with a herniated disc with my back, and the CBD helps me a lot if that starts to flare up. So definitely something. And the Purium CBD is the best. Like, I've tried different ones, and it's by far the best.
I agree. Okay, Aster, there you go. Go ahead.
Hey, so I don't have a question. I just wanted to shout out Sarah for introducing me to Purium. During the pandemic, when I had lost my job, she was just out in the front lawn of our building drinking something. And I went up to her and just started picking her mind. And she started to talk about it. And I was really standoffish. I was like, hey, I already eat healthy. You know, what everyone says, I already eat healthy. I already have the best of the best, blah, blah, blah. And she just challenged me. And she's like, let's go up to your apartment. Let's read the ingredients of what I have and what you have. And here I am 3 years later. Let's put it this way. The foods I was using before for 7 years, as soon as I got my Purium ULT, I threw away the stock of the stuff I had. Like I literally threw it in the garbage once I realized the difference. And here I am 3 years in. My gut microbiome, I healed everything. It's changed my life. I'm back in my hometown, Connecticut right now for a year. And I'm raising this awareness. It's been a crazy journey. Sarah knows, but I'm grateful for the whole community. Marcus, I love you too. Thanks everyone. Holly, for all that you guys do. Seema, the Million Mom Movement. I never show my face on here, but you know, Sarah's my upline. Mark, they're my friends. They introduced me to this. So I had to say hi and just give my 2 cents worth. And who is ever on this line and hasn't used Purium yet, what are you waiting for? And that's all I'm going to say. So thanks for this time.
Thank you so much, Aster. That is so beautiful. And this is what happens in this community, right? We care front, we help, and we transform lives. So let's get to our call to action with Michelle Ricci.
Amazing call, everyone. Thanks for your shares and for all of these amazing tips. And we're going to go back to appeal now. And coming off the same article as Carmela read earlier, you know, I had about 40 tabs open just researching and going down the rabbit hole. And it's hard to pick just one thing to talk to them about. So if you grab your phones, please do this with us. Please pick up your phones, go to Instagram and go to Appeal's Instagram page, and we're going to click on their reels. And then on their reels, it says Unwaste Wednesday. And I thought this was so fascinating because they're talking about everything that they're doing to reduce food waste, and that if food waste emissions was a country, it would be the 3rd largest emission country in the world. But they have no conversation going on about whether or not, what they're doing to make these coatings. So we learned from Carmela earlier that it is this grapeseed monoacylglycerides. It's hard to even say. And there's so much to go into. I'm excited that we're going to be doing in June a whole lunch and learn on this and really, really unpacking it. So based on the article, save the article that Carmela reviewed earlier and pick anything out of the article that is concerning you and write a comment on their one of their reels. Here, I'm addressing the greenhouse gases. I'm asking them how the coatings are made and elaborating on the process and the carbon footprint left behind. Now, we've talked about the carbon market exchange and had some guests on about that. And I'm asking them, do they have to pay into it or are they receiving credits? Also, the concern for me is that it's exempt from this pre-market approval or any kind of effects of long-term long-term effects on health. So people like me who consume a vegan diet of fruits and vegetables, I would be potentially consuming this coating in mass quantities without any studies. So that's what's concerning to me. Now, if you were around a week or so ago, I did post a comment on their one of the Apple ones, and they responded. So I am hoping that they will respond to this as well. And we'll keep going deeper and deeper because really they're saying it's all good. Yeah, that's the one, Ava. It's all good. We're not using animal products, and it just seems so greenwashed to me. And they're not really answering the question: how is this derived? How is this made? they're saying, well, it's non-GMO, and it doesn't mean that it's organic. And so I'm so careful with what I put into my body. And I understand that non-GMO does not mean organic, and that it can still be heavily sprayed with pesticides. So yep. And of course, that's right. You know, Bill Gates funds it, and we get to vote with our dollar. And that's what we're emphasizing here at the Million Mom Movement, is just this education. And so I'm going to keep asking questions, and we're going to keep unpacking this as the Million Mom Movement until we get some real answers. And if they can't give us this transparency, then I think the answers are evident. So back to you to close us out. I guess we're going to Naiva to close us out. Thanks, everyone. Great call.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Michelle, for that call to action. And please do participate, because this is how we make our voices heard. And this is how we move our movement forward with our activism part of being a part of this Million Mom Movement community. So we really appreciate you helping us by sharing your voice loud and calling these companies out on your concerns, because that's how we can make a difference together. And I want to say thank you to all of our guests for being here today. And I'm going to go ahead and share that this coming Friday, we're going to have an incredible presentation. Michelle Ricci is going to be leading us, and it's going to be all about our Purium champions. And it's leading along the same line of post recovery for athletes. And now we're going to be talking to more champions in the Purium community about how they, how they use the products and how they've come to the point where they are now in Purium. And so we're going to have some really incredible guests next week with Ian Farrar, Rachel Balansat, and Wame Bouye. And I'm super excited for that presentation. And I want to just go ahead and bring it to our pledge. If we have somebody to read from the pledge, maybe Holly, do you want to read the pledge for us today?
Sure. I pledge to defend the health of myself and my family. I pledge to choose organic foods that are minimally processed and free of man-made ingredients. I pledge to read labels and educate myself on all aspects of clean living. I understand that my actions today will positively impact the health and environment of future generations. I'm committed to sharing this movement of many. I am the Million Mom Movement.
Thank you so much, Holly. And let me see, I have one more screen share for us, if it will let me bring it up, just a second. And so, yeah, we're all a part of this movement. So thank you so much for being here. And we want to just invite you all to follow us on our social media channels so that you can keep up with what we're doing, share our movement forward, share what we post into your stories or create reels around it, and then also tag us, because when you tag us, I can repost you on our social media channels. So like, follow, and subscribe. We have a page on Facebook, and this is where our events are posted for all of our Fierce Fridays. So if you're ever looking to share those events in your stories on Facebook, or share them on your wall, or invite people to those events, that's where you'll find them, is on our Facebook page. We also have our Million Mom Movement official Facebook group. That's where we repost our replays every week. And we also put all the links that we shared in each presentation will be shared in the comments of that post. So if you're looking for today's post from Moms Across America about Appeal, you'll find it in the comments of that post in that group. And then please follow us on Instagram. That's where we post and repost you. Use our hashtag so that way it can find you. And you can follow us on Twitter and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can have access to all of our replays and share them far and wide. And so I just want to thank you all for joining us here today. And Taz, I'll pass it back to you if you have any last words to close us out.
Well, thank you, everyone, and we will see you Friday. Thank you.